I believe there is a certain bias in the mainstream media outlets, and that's what's shaping public opinion.
I can't wait to talk about this film with you both, honestly, because, and I mean this truly, I think this is my favorite thing that I've seen at the Hot Docs Festival so far. It's just such an incredible piece. It's raw, it's honest, and loving at the same time. Um, Speaking, of course, with Janay and Habak, the director and subjects of Birds of War. And how did the film come to be? Why tell the story this way? Your story.
Yeah, so we started working on this film in 2021, and at that time I had been filming in Lebanon since 2019, from the revolution and the economic collapse of the country and my family's life through this. And I wanted to make a film about Lebanese situation, Lebanese politics, and through my lens as a journalist and my family. And because Habak is my partner, he was going to be part of the film through this story. And as we started to develop more and more, we built the team around us. Habak, Habak's role started to be bigger and bigger in the film. And then we decided that the more we tried to explain the political situation, the more it was getting confusing and more complicated to explain, and that the core of the film is our love story, which is the human aspect of this film, and through that we will get to see a glimpse of what's happening in Lebanon and Syria. And Habak, he had his
Yeah,
archive as well.
yes. So for me, it's like it was since I left Syria in 2017. My archive was out of any conversation. I just left them like under my bed in London, and I never opened it. And I was, it's like when you feel like you have a feeling that is like there's a time for this archive like to be out. And while like we are developing this film, it was like I was feeling this is the time. As the story is growing, this is like just feel like more this is the time. And like basically like the archive is really traumatic footage. So also we have to work together like to protect us and to protect our team from this footage also at the same time. So I work with Rebecca Day from Film in Mind. She's a great person. So me and her, we developed like a traffic light system when like I I went back with my whole archive and I label all my archive as amber, green, and red. So this time, like protecting our team and us, it was so important. So it's like basically that green thing, the green label, like everyone can watch it, everyone can see it. Amber, it's be aware like there is some traumatic footage there. And red, it was like do not access this at any time until like we actually decide like to access it.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what I mean is that this film, like the things we're seeing, I mean, they're so raw, they're so honest. I can only imagine that it would be you would have to be very careful what things are put in a film of this nature and which things are kept well more privately, I guess. Um, can you talk about the tension? Because the two of you, I mean, I want to talk about the relationship part of it, but I mean, it is interesting to watch this, you both struggle in the sense that Habak, you're on the ground, and Janai, you want to be on the ground, and we hear that, and as you're building the stories and starting to share these things, what sort of conversations would you have? What was that like for you to be there and you to wish you were?
At that time, it was a gradual development that I was going through because it was also part of me growing up and understanding what is it that I want, what's important for me, reconnecting with my country. And Habak played a huge role in making me realize what I should be doing and what I want to be doing and what's important for me. So that's why when we got together and he came into my life and the revolution started in Lebanon, within 24 hours, both of us were there because he understood my needs and my feelings, and he kind of supported me in reconnecting with my family and my country and wanting to be more there, really. So it was gradual for me, and it's highly influenced by my disenchantment with journalism and with my relationship with Haba.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was a bit like different because like I start my career like in a war zone, like when the revolution started, like in Syria, and I wasn't like a cinematographer. I was like an activist, And when the revolution started in 2011, so the Assad regime cut all the journalists by coming like to our country, and at this point, like as an activist, like on the ground, like we took this responsibility of delivering like what's happening in our country to the world, and it was more that a responsibility of that we are doing this not for money, not for anything. We are doing this because we are gonna deliver like what's happening in like with our people, with us and with our people at the same time. Um, Also, it was like a big part of like the conversation we have at this time that is like we are actually documenting our history. We are writing our history uh, because at this time, like in a war zone, no one's gonna write anything. But our camera was documenting everything around us. That why, like sometimes, like even like you see it in the film, like we have like footage from everything like around us. So it's like it was like really important, like for our camera to keep rolling all the time.
I'm glad you said that too about not doing it for money, like because this film very clearly shows that this is your passion for your country. But there's a line in the film that I wanted to ask you, and that was, truth depends on what propaganda you allow in your home. And with this conversation surrounding journalism, I wondered what that means to you.
It's To me, that's really the reality of the world we live in, because with my experience in the news world, headlines tend to change rapidly. What the media is pushing, and the load of information that we get is highly influenced by the political world. And this is how people form their opinion most of the time, because the average person living in another place in the world is consuming this information through the media, and the media's is monopolized and is owned by people who are related to certain political parties, and they tend to push certain narratives. So I believe there is a certain bias in the mainstream media outlets, and that's what's shaping public opinion. And this is what our role as documentary filmmakers is, to fight back against this narrative and show really the human lives and the suffering of humans, and creating this empathy to the humans, rather than labeling people under a headline or a political justification for why people are being killed. And this is what we hope that our film really tries to do, is to show that it's not what the news tells you is happening. It's more complicated,
Mm.
and it's the humans that are paying the price for this.
Yeah, and I think that is like why documentaries exist at this moment. That is like most of the documentary filmmaker they owning like the narrative and owning the story. It's the most important thing at the moment, and uh, filmmakers trying like documentary specifically like trying to do more than like trying to fill the gap, let's say.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Everything is shaped by perspective, for sure.
Yeah.
I do, I don't want to take away from that. I don't think I'm doing by doing this, but I do want to ask about the relationship because it actually adds to the film. It never distracts, but actually I think adds power to your journeys together. So I feel like I need to ask how did it develop in the sense I mean you're contacting each other all the time, you're sharing stories, but it has changed. There was a point when it changed, of course. What happened there?
Um, what happened for me was, which is what we try to say in the film, is that when I started to see this the humans back in their countries, activists in Syria risking their lives to tell their story. And when then I went to the newsroom, and then there was no more appetite for stories from Syria, and I was still trying to push, no, we should keep telling these stories and we should keep doing that. And I felt a responsibility to Habak, and that, you've been my, like, quote unquote source all this time, and am I just gonna stop speaking with you and move on to something else? But you're my colleague, you're my friend. And so it started as sort of empathy towards his cause and believe in what he was doing, and realizing that actually this is what matters, what he's doing on the ground, really.
Yeah.
And for you?
Uh, I mean, like for me, it was almost the same because like at that time, like literally, like you know, before when we were in Aleppo, like our my phone like was buzzing like all the time with from journalists. They want work, they want news, they want like to ask me about stuff, and like literally after we left Aleppo, it's like everything has stopped. Like no one was like, even like I was trying to pitch stories, like too many of my colleagues, like they were in contact with me. It's like, oh no, we don't need this story. We don't want this story. I will ask my management. I will come back to you. So it was like, it was literally like when, it's like, it was zero. Like we don't want anything now from Syria. That was like the answer from everyone. And even though it's like when I talked to Janay, I was like, yeah, I have this story, and she would say like, yeah, I will ask my manager. I was like, okay, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It's like if you're not gonna take it, it's like I'm gonna leave it in my archive. I feel like it's important like to do it, so that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it like just for you, but if you're gonna have it and show it to the world, it will be great. But if you're not, but I have my archive. I have space like to leave it in. So, and I think that at that time was really important because at that time, Janai was like really pushing stories from Syria. Not just for me, it's like just for the cause of that, it's like Syria should be in the news again. And it's happening like it's happening now everywhere. It's like it's happening now. Like we don't hear news about Ukraine now. It's like it's zero news about Ukraine. It's like everything is move on. It's like it's about a trend. Like what war is caused like more life now. Let's talk about it at the moment. So yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We tend to move to the latest one and then forget about the impact of what's still happening
yeah,
in those other spaces. Um, Honestly, the film is absolutely gripping and heartbreaking, and I felt so many emotions watching this film, including, and I mean this, genuinely feeling, man, I really want these two to get together at the same time in the midst of these complicated emotions. But what do you hope audiences take away from Birds of War?
I think at this time, where the war happening on Lebanon, the war in Iran, and on Gaza, I feel it's very important to create this understanding that the political world is enforcing certain ideas or ideologies on humans through the media, but we need to take a step beyond that and understand that these people who are on the ground are paying the price for these big wars. And these people are humans who want to live, who want to love and be loved and be happy and enjoy life. And they deserve that, but they are the victims of bigger powers and bigger things that they don't have control of. So if we can create a little bit of understanding and empathy towards the humans in these wars, that would be my biggest aim, really.
Yeah, it's our sin.
Yeah.
Our sin.
I love that, and I love the film. Honestly, thank you both so much for the time to chat. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It is just such a beautiful piece. I wish you the best. Congratulations
Thank you
on the
Thank you
film.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much. Have a great day.
Bye,
You too.
you
Bye.
too.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.